Welcome to Cloud Without Compromise. Thank you so much for joining us today. It looks like we've got quite a few people that have joined us, and we're so happy that you could make it. We have a lot of things to talk about today, and we want to make it very, very clear how Unisys and ClearPath software for MCP and our software series can take you to the Azure cloud without any compromise on your part. So today we're presenting Cloud Without Compromise. Our agenda today will include talking about all of the different things that we have done with ClearPath MCP software series and how we've made it now available on Azure. We're going to talk about how easy it is to transition to Azure, and we have a guest speaker who is joining us today. We have the Unisys CIO, Upinder, Phanda, who will be joining us to talk about how Unisys moved its own MCP-driven applications to the Azure Public Cloud over the course of a weekend. And then we have Bob Ellsworth from Microsoft, who's here to tell us about driving digital transformations with the mainframe to Azure. Then we'll talk about the details of MCP Software Series 3.0 and the added capabilities with the flexibility and the choice of environments that you now have. And then we'll talk about orchestrating the ClearPath MCP Software Series environments with services to include the Azure deployment options. So we're going to start off today with a poll. So Bradley has a poll that he's going to be administering for this today. And if you could just help us out by answering, that would be great.
Thanks, Trudy. Yeah, so everybody, you guys should be seeing a couple of poll questions on your screen right now. Just for those who have joined us using a browser, you may not see the option to vote. So we do apologize for that. But the poll questions: how would you categorize your organization's cloud expertise? And how concerned are you about the security of your cloud workloads? We have a number of ratings there. We just ask that you select your response and then click submit. And we'll just give it another moment for things to slow down. And as we're waiting, a reminder, we have disabled all chat functionality for the attendees today. However, if you'd like to submit a question, we ask that you click on the Q&A tab found at the bottom of your Zoom window and insert your question in the text field and then click submit. We'll see that and we'll respond to those questions throughout the course of this webinar. All right, so I see a little bit over 65% of the attendees have voted here. Let me stop this poll. We'll share these results. And it looks like with regards to the level of cloud expertise, many are proficient and still learning, but by and large, you guys are developing expertise. And then with regards to, pardon me, security of your cloud workloads, many are extremely concerned and very concerned. Very interesting results. All right, I'll hand things over to Trudy once again to continue with our presentation.
Thank you, Bradley. There have been many studies done regarding moving IT environments to the public cloud, and with good reason. There's many benefits that can be obtained by making the move. The stats say it all. Application migration is one of the major concerns of cloud migration, with over half of IT leaders identifying it as a key challenge. At the same time, companies are feeling left behind or that they're missing out on opportunities by not moving to the cloud. Even after successful migration, there's still challenges that need to be overcome. So these trends have impacted many's perception in a number of ways. Many of our clients we found believe that their applications must be rewritten to take advantage of cloud capabilities. And there's a lot of fear that mission critical applications may be disrupted by extended migration projects or worse, failed migration projects, and the uncertainties of the performance of your applications that are post-migration. Cloud security continues to be a top priority, and which you just indicated by the poll, with breaches and compromises occurring frequently. And the need to ensure data security and data compliance is required in just about everyone's environment today. Cloud migration can be a painstaking process. Sometimes applications need to be reprogrammed and recompiled, but what if you knew you wouldn't need to do all of that? Cloud adoption can be wrought with challenges, including management and governance concerns, but what if you didn't need to be concerned about those things? Of course, security is always a serious concern, both during the migration process and afterwards, and you always need to be worried about data stored in a public cloud. But what if we could give you some assurances on all of these different items? Unisys wants your ClearPath MCP cloud transition to be seamless, predictable, and consistent, so you can quickly take advantage of the benefits of cloud implementations. Benefits like reduced risk, reduced cost, reduced time, the ability to take a new application and spin it up in a new environment for development or for testing and training, Q&A or production. New environments can be brought up very, very quickly in a cloud environment. So all of these things can be gained and realized when taking the move to a public cloud. What we really want to talk about today, though, when we say a cloud without compromise, here's what we really mean. Other companies that want to assist you with going to a public cloud will require each application to be refactored and recompiled to run native on Microsoft Windows. These migrations introduce cost and risk, which can lead to failed projects. The Unisys system software stack transitions directly to the cloud environments, so your applications can run in the cloud unchanged, making the transition to a cloud a seamless, predictable, consistent experience. The Unisys transition process provides a risk-free transition to the cloud, and it requires no migration tools, no code changes, no code recompilation, no application re-architecting. There's absolutely no application refactoring. There's no impact to your workloads. And in fact, workloads could even run faster depending upon which VM you choose to use when you're in Azure. No retraining of your staff, because everything would run as it runs today. There's no migration, period. No infrastructure investment, because now you would be running on the Microsoft Azure infrastructure. Your workloads will remain as is while having the benefits of public cloud operations. Now, how do we do that? So you know Unisys, we've had several options available for you for many years. We've had our pre-integrated Libra systems, and we still have Libra systems available for you. We have the Libra 45, 65, and 8500 systems that are still available for you. And we have a roadmap still available that shows what we're doing in the future as far as our Libra integrated systems are concerned. We also have had the private cloud for a number of years now, where you could deploy on VMware and Hyper-V and on bare metal. And today, with this introduction, we're going to be talking about the public cloud and deploying on Microsoft Azure. So now you have three choices. You have your integrated systems, the private cloud, and now you have public cloud. So with that, I'd like to introduce our CIO, Upinder Phanda, and he's going to tell you how Unisys migrated its own MCP applications to the Microsoft Azure cloud.
Hi, Trudy, thank you. I'd like to say hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. And thank you for taking the time to come and listen to us. And Trudy has very well outlined how the journey is. I'd like to give you a little bit more color on the journey that we did within Unisys. We can go to the next cell, Trudy. So it was interesting, the first poll where, we're asking about skills in the cloud as well as security. Both were big concerns for me when we started on this journey. Now, Unisys ourselves, we've been on our transformation journey for the last 3 or 4 years. We had a cloud first strategy, and that included moving our ClearPath MCP applications onto the Azure cloud. Now, when we first originally looked at where we wanted to put it, whether it was AWS, Azure, etc., but we chose to go with Azure. Now, this cell, a lot of it, on the left-hand side, Trudy already mentioned, is the desired result, right? And this was the desired result that that we achieved within Unisys. And but let me talk a little bit about, this is like the swan on top of the water, sort of smoothly moving along, but there's a lot of feet underneath that are doing a lot of work. So, this was a 3 or 4 month program that we took on. And for us, it was a little bit bigger challenge than it would be for you, because we were the first ones to actually attempt to move ClearPath MCP onto the cloud. And so, again, I think as far as skill sets are concerned, we had worked with the cloud, with Azure in many programs as we were moving our applications into Azure. And so, we were learning and building that skill set, knowing that this one, as it's not been, there's no roadmap in place, we're going to have to build that roadmap. So, and honestly, it was a very smooth project, and it was something that we could do in the background, right? So really, the business had no impact. We could get it ready, we could get it tested until we were, ready to move. And surprisingly, we have all these no's on the left-hand side. It was not what we expected to start with, but that's what we achieved, right? Because with Azure, stack, we were able to, put the applications on top of Azure, and actually we sort of fooled the applications. They don't even know that they moved, right? So as far as they're concerned, they are where they were. They don't even have a clue that they're now, on the Azure cloud. So we did this when we did the transition, over a weekend, a planned transition, a planned outage of 48 hours. Very seamless. Security was a big concern for us. Our stealth product, I urge you all to take a look at that. Incredible product that gave me a warm feeling as we were moving these key applications. And something to remember here is we're playing with old technology. A lot of our applications in ClearPath are over 20, 25 years old. We're playing with old technology and new technology. So, there are, certainly for us, there were some risks that we were taking, but there are no risks for you, as we have now created that roadmap, and we can replicate that. So every best practice that we put together in our learning, is in our Cloud Forte services. So, I think, that roadmap that we put together now should be fairly seamless. Everyone should be able to replicate this and go from a let's say, non-agile environment into an agile environment. So happy to answer any questions anyone has, but that's all I had for today. So I'm going to pass it over to Bob Ellsworth.
Great, thank you so much, Upinder. Next slide. Yeah, so as noted, I'm the Director of Mainframe Transformation here at Microsoft, and had the pleasure of working with Unisys since I joined Microsoft back in 2001. And we've seen some, just amazing, in the 49 years I've been in the industry, just some amazing evolutions have taken place in the kinds of solutions and technologies available to you to address your business needs. And in particular, the advent of the cloud as a way of deploying your technologies, your solutions, and then extending those capabilities that you're using today to be able to consume new functionality that's available to you in the cloud. And here at Microsoft, we've made a tremendous investment in our cloud data centers around the world. We have the largest geographical footprint of any cloud provider with 60 Azure regions. And we continue to expand those out to other countries and other areas as well. It's very interesting. We have more dark fiber, connecting these data centers, so high-speed connections between data centers, than to go to from the Earth to the Moon and back 3 times. The investment in dark fiber, more dark fiber than any telephone company in the world, providing these kinds of connections. The other area that's so important, as was pointed out, is security. We have to ensure that the systems running in our cloud are secure and deliver to you the levels of security beyond your expectations. And we accomplish this not only with technology such as stealth that Unisys brings to the table, but also at the upper level, providing a secure environment for you to run your workloads, monitoring these systems continually, both with technology and personnel, and continuing to invest in cybersecurity to ensure that these systems, again, deliver the level of security that you require. So a huge investment from Microsoft. But at Microsoft, we live on trust. And without that trust and security, you wouldn't be able to take advantage of the cloud and feel confident in doing that. So that's an area that we spend a lot of time and focus on. And then lastly, when you think of the cloud, and another area that's so important is that for your particular geography or industry, there may be some attestations or certifications that are required for you to consider moving those workloads into the cloud. Here at Microsoft, we have more compliance offerings than any other cloud provider, actually than the other 2 cloud providers combined. And we do that, again, so that you can feel confident based on your requirements for attestations or certifications, that we can support your workloads in the cloud, and it'll satisfy the industry or geography requirements that you might have. So these are at a very high level, some of the capabilities and benefits of Azure and how we compare with the other hyperscale cloud providers. Next slide. And getting specifically to mainframe transformation to Azure, this is an area that I led here at Microsoft starting in 2008 and built an ecosystem of partners with tools and services, capabilities and technologies to allow you to take your existing workloads and take advantage of cloud services, move those workloads to the cloud. We think of mainframe transformation as a part of digital transformation, where the first step that most customers think about as part of digital transformation is optimizing operations. Being able to take a legacy workload that you have, that you trust for running your business, and in a very easy way, moving that workload to a new environment, to the cloud environment, in order to reduce cost and increase the effectiveness. You think of some of the benefits of the cloud, you pay for what you need. So you pay for based on consumption. If you have test environments and bring them up and down, no reason to have a dedicated set of servers to run those test environments in your data center. Might as well put those up in the cloud and be able to turn them on, turn them off whenever you might need them for doing testing. If you have a need for elasticity to grow and shrink the services for month-end processing, year-end processing, the cloud provides that at a very low cost. It allows you to grow and shrink your virtual machines based on the capacity you need. So for optimizing operations, or if you're considering a requirement to upgrade your existing hardware because it's reaching end of life, why upgrade it in the data center? Consider moving that environment to the cloud instead. Again, that's a way to optimize operations. But the journey doesn't start there. On this journey, once you get into the cloud, you have the ability to empower your employees with secure access to applications and data, better engage customers by analyzing information from your legacy systems in new and different tools such as Power BI, and then continuing that journey transforming products using machine learning, AI, business intelligence. So it's really about continuing the journey and transforming data into intelligent action, consuming Azure services in order to do that. And you think of these multiple R's, different methods from taking your current system and moving it to the cloud. A couple areas I'd like to highlight. One is retain. And we think of retain as in two areas. One to wrap systems, existing systems, which is also considered to be probably more currently digital enabling, digital enablement for access to these systems. When we think of the MCP system and moving the Unisys platform to the cloud, you have the ability to integrate and to interact with those existing systems using tools and technologies like ePortal from Unisys. In addition, for replicating data to SQL for BI and analytics, data exchange is a great technology from Unisys that allows you to replicate that data and then use it within SQL and Azure to do analytics and BI and against it. Then the other area that's so important is replatforming, rehosting and refactoring. And we think of as mentioned, the lowest cost, the least risk, the quickest way to move these workloads to Azure is to replatform, to take the existing systems and deploy it up in Azure VMs, which Unisys now fully supports, and it's very exciting. The other options available to you, but at a higher risk, is rehosting and refactoring. The rehosting is where you replicate or you recompile your COBOL to run on Windows or Linux and run that up in Azure, or refactor, which is where you convert COBOL into Java or C# as an example. So some of you may have a desire and a need to take those paths, but they do represent higher risk, longer time to deployment, and higher costs. So this first step of replatforming is a great one to allow you to quickly take those environments, as was mentioned, 48 hours for moving all of the Unisys systems up to the cloud. Pretty incredible. Transition over a weekend. So replatforming, absolutely the fastest, least expensive, and least risk way of moving to the cloud. And with that, let me pass it back to Bradley for another poll question.
Thank you, Bob. All right, let me launch the second poll here for the attendees. All right, so on your screen, you should be able to see the next poll, which also has a couple of questions here. The first being, which public clouds are you currently using or planning to use? And that is a multiple choice question, so if you're using multiple clouds, feel free to indicate that. And a follow-up question to that, what type of clouds is your organization currently using or planning to use? Are you currently using or planning to use multiple public clouds, a single public cloud? Perhaps it's a hybrid of both a public and a private cloud, or are you running on-premise? And once again, please select your response and then click submit. Once you do so, we'll start seeing those responses and we'll share those results in just a moment here. I thank those for all who submitted questions this far. If you are interested in submitting a question, please click on the Q&A tab found at the bottom of your Zoom window. Type your question in the text field and then click submit, and that will enter our queue. And once again, we'll be answering those questions throughout the duration of this webinar. All right, looks like the responses have started to slow down. All right, just another 5 seconds or so. All right, let me share these results. It looks like the largest portion are using Azure in terms of the public cloud, and many have a hybrid cloud that is consistent with the industry as well as what I've seen. Very interesting results. Let me turn the presentation back over to Trudy to take us through some additional detail on the Software Series 3.0 solution.
Thank you, Bradley. Okay, let's talk about which workloads are actually being supported for ClearPath MCP Software Series 3.0. So for existing software series products, we have Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Developer Studio. For Gold, we're supporting the capacity-based workloads today. And on Developer Studio, we go up to the Team Edition capacity-based. So we're not yet at the point where we are supporting our consumption-based workloads, but all of these workloads are currently supported. And if you're an FS 1000 user or financial server user, that is also supported on the Microsoft Azure Cloud. So existing CSS 3.0 workloads can be moved over to Azure. But you would need the latest MCP ICs for MCP 18 and MCP 19 prior to moving over to Azure. Our engineers have done a lot of testing of our different pieces of ancillary software that you might be using in your environment. Here's the list of the different pieces of software that we have tested. So for Azure to Azure, you can see the list that starts over on the left-hand side here. So we've tested the Stealth Virtual Gateway that's now supported in Azure, as well as things like EOM and WinMQ and Workload Manager, Visual IDE, Secure File Transfer. We're also now supporting data exchange, so DMS2 to SQL and SQL back to DMS2. We also have the DMS2 to Kafka and DMS2 to Oracle. So we do have some additional testing that is in process for the Azure to Azure environments. We've also tested Azure to on-premises with EOM, and in the future we're planning to support ePortal. We have partners who have also been testing their software with MCP on the Azure public cloud. And so as you can see, we've got the SMA Technologies for the OpCon software. We've got DBA Tools from Stort Data Tech. And we've got It's For Sure also that's been tested, as well as the tape management tools from BNL. InfoConnect and DataBridge have been tested by Micro Focus. Various agents from Sightline, as well as the help systems and TeamQuest software. And DSI Restore has done a lot of testing as well. So let's talk about how, what DSI Restore is now doing. As many of you know, DSI has been a long-standing partner in providing backup and recovery solutions for both MCP and the OS 2200. This includes physical VTL appliances and a virtual edition called DSI Restore, which runs on both VMware and Hyper-V. Starting with the new version of DSI Restore software, DSI now supports backing up of CSS MCP to the DSI Restore instance running on Azure. This would also include legacy support for technologies like tape emulation, deduplication, and secure replication. Organizations with an on-premises DSI VTL can continue to replicate to a DSI Restore instance on Azure. Beginning with this release, a new export function is being introduced that will allow export or archive tapes to tapes directly to the cloud without the need of DSI Restore at the destination. This feature is currently being tested and will be available shortly. The ordering process has not changed. If you are a current user of ClearPath MCP software series and you have any of the additions that we talked about, meaning Bronze, Silver, Gold, or Dev Studio that are qualified to run on the public cloud, the ordering process would be the same. You can now download it directly to Azure. So you don't need to make that hop from your own implementation over to Azure and copy it yet again. You can download it directly to Azure. Also, if you have a current implementation of software series, you can move over to the Azure cloud, but what that would require would be to contact Unisys support, and you'll be asked to go ahead and execute a certificate of destruction for your current implementation, and new keys would be issued to you. Now, keep in mind that you need to be on ClearPath MCP 18.0 or later. And the way that you can source the Azure instances is you can go either directly to Microsoft Azure, or you can work with our managed services and we can provide engagements for you, and Unisys can handle even that transaction for you. Security is infused throughout every level of the ClearPath Forward system environment. The architecture, the hardware, the firmware, the software, the middleware, and the databases to protect your data and your reputation. Running ClearPath in Azure Cloud adds Azure's inherent cloud security, including physical, infrastructure, and operational controls. You can also enable Azure Security Center to strengthen your security posture and protect against threats. For the ultimate security complement your Azure environment with Unisys Stealth. Stealth is a zero trust software suite that uses the identity-based microsegmentation to eliminate the risk of cyber attacks. It also allows you to enable the extremely rapid dynamic isolation of cloud workloads at any signs of suspicious activities, and it'll mitigate the risks associated with hosting workloads in the cloud. So what challenges is your business facing? Do you have governance challenges? Do you need to be concerned with how compliance rules will be monitored, how cost efficiency and performance will be maintained, and how you'll accommodate new products and services and remain competitive? Migration. We hear a lot of horror stories about migration, so it's important to know that you can transition quickly and safely without breaking anything in the process. Modernization. You will want to know that you're using the best technologies that are out there and deploying applications efficiently in a way that meets your business objectives. So Cloud Forte provides a whole engagement model, and it's built on leveraging the strengths of services and operational practice, combining your team and the team of our Unisys experts. The cloud layer ranges from creating an instance on Azure, configuring and setting up the cloud infra, and it could be done by Cloud Forte. Then comes the MCP infra, where our ClearPath services team provides expert guidance. The layer above will be supported by the Cloud Forte and handles aspects of optimizing the cloud resources, capacity planning, cost optimizations, analytics, and setting up performance metrics, security aspects, and operational benchmarks. The top layers, which deals with the MCP operating environment, will be handled by the ClearPath services team, bringing a wealth of experience. More broadly, this engagement model delivers the services under the following headers shown on the right. So we have our transitional services, our security and compliance services, management and operations, platforms and implementation, migrations and build, and the infrastructure assessments. With in-depth knowledge of the MCP software series platform and a pool of specialist resources, we can assist you with the Azure public cloud transition seamlessly. In this slide, we have captured a lifecycle model highlighting the various stages involved in the MCP public cloud journey and the steady state, as well as the services applicable to help you in each of these stages. As you can see here, the first stage of the model is the assessment and infrastructure transition, under which we'll perform the assessment of your existing on-prem system, and we'll define the desired Azure infrastructure components and build the Azure landing zone. Then comes the platform implementation, under which Unisys would implement the MCP software series on the Azure cloud. Perform data application migration, set up the backup and recovery procedures, and define the disaster recovery procedures. To manage your cloud infrastructure, MCP system and applications, Unisys provides end-to-end managed services that include the infra monitoring and management, ClearPath operations and management, and the applications management and services. By leveraging these, you'll be able to make sure that your ClearPath Forward environment maintains peak performance, and you can use it to deliver efficient, cost-effective IT services and free up resources to support the innovation initiatives that you need to stay relevant and differentiated. The last stage is value-added services, where we provide application evolution services to provide your applications for maximum value, system software upgrade, security audit, optimization services such as DevOps automation. So when we say cloud without compromise, this is what we mean. Your workloads can remain as is without the need to make code changes or recompilations, re-architect your solutions, and refactor your applications. All of the things that you have, we have done this over the course of a weekend. We were able to migrate all of our applications. So ClearPath Forward for Microsoft Azure, along with the Unisys Cloud Forte and Stealth, provides secure, comprehensive managed services solution that securely addresses the most critical adoption challenges that our clients are facing. Cloud Forte for Azure provides some of the most advanced management tools and security services, which means results in less IT spend and lower operating costs. Unisys Stealth provides a zero-trust software suite that uses identity-based microsegmentation to eliminate the risks of cyber attacks. Managed services helps keep you on track so that you keep your focus on your business at every turn. And since Microsoft Azure is responsible for managing your hosting solution, you'll spend much less time doing maintenance and configuring hardware and software. With no upfront capital investments required for equipment, no maintenance costs, lowered energy costs in your data center, and pay-as-you-go pricing to optimize usage, all cloud resources, you'll instantly realize the financial benefits. So with that, we want to thank you for attending today, and we want to let you know about a couple of upcoming events that we have. We have an event next week, which is Unisys 2020 Virtual AB Suite User Conference. You can learn about that at our secureoutreach.unisys.com, AB Suite 2020. We also have the Unite conference, the virtual conference, coming up the week of October 19th through the 23rd. And the theme this year is empowering your ongoing digital evolution. And you can find out more about that at unite.org. And with that, we'd like to thank you very much for attending today. Thank you very much, and it's really nice to see so many participants with us today. Thank you.